Hey, I'm back with another Bitcoin video. Just wanted to give an update on where we're at with Bitcoin and what we could be expecting here in the short term. So the last time I posted a video, I had talked about how I thought it was pretty likely we would come down and retest this area here. We haven't quite gotten there yet, but we did break down further. And so far this past week, we've had this small rally and kind of just held right above this level. Now, looking at some indicators, we can see a few other things. I'd mentioned the Ichimoku cloud last time. Since my last video, we did close below the cloud, and currently we've come back up and we're kind of testing this bottom moving average. I think there's a fairly good chance we get rejected right here and then continue further downwards. As far as how much further downwards, that's going to be hard to tell. I think there's some potential for a bounce at 31,000 and then maybe consolidating here for some time before we start moving up again, maybe later this year. But there is a chance if we break down below this level that we have fairly large kind of capitulation to the downside. If we just look at this EMA ribbon, kind of the same thing. We've been below this moving average here for some time now. There's a chance, we have a rally and kind of touch the bottom of this moving average. We've done that before in similar situations. For example, here we broke below and then it acted as resistance before we finally broke up. Same thing here in this last bear market in 2018. Once we fell below that, we did pop up briefly, but for the most part, this acted as resistance for the better part of maybe 6 months or a year. And so here, kind of extrapolating or making an educated guess as to what might happen is, if we do come down to 31,000, we may find support here and then kind of get stuck in between this moving average and 31,000 and either break out from there or break further down. Just looking at the volume has started to pick up. And so that's a good thing. It means that, there's buyers coming into the market. Some people do see this as a pretty good buying opportunity. Like I mentioned before, we're below this 40 level on the RSI, which historically has been a pretty good time to buy just in general. I talked about how back here and even these few weeks here were really good buying opportunities and kind of set in motion the upcoming bull markets. And so it's possible the same thing happens, right? If we have a big push to the downside and then kind of rally from here. And so that might be a reason that we're starting to see an uptick in volume. So we'll see. As far as the RSI goes, we're still technically below 40. We have come up and we're kind of testing that 40 level right now. We'll see if we could break above that or potentially come further down. I would imagine even if we do break above this, that the price will likely go down even if the RSI is going up. So this is the weekly chart. If we take a look at the daily chart, not much else. We are still in a fairly strong downtrend. Until we at least break above this line of resistance here, I would expect that we keep moving further down. Now we could come sideways, we could break up, but this seems to be a pretty strong area of resistance here, going all the way back to the previous all-time high in November. Basically, every time price gets in this little zone, it just immediately gets rejected. Looking at the IC cloud, we're firmly below the cloud, and the two moving averages are still pointing down quite a bit. The lagging span is still below. So all this to say that still fairly bearish. The one thing is we did break above this moving average here. The significance of that right now isn't, at least in my opinion, isn't too significant. RSI, still bearish, still below 40. We weren't even able to get up to 40. The other thing is that even though we have been making these big moves here, the candles themselves are fairly small. Like each day is maybe 1 or 2 percentage points. The biggest thing though was this wick here. When we came all the way down to 32,000, there was a pretty quick push to the upside here. But at the same time, we had a lot of selling happening here, and now we're just kind of stuck in this area. If we go back, it seems to correspond with here, with this low here. We're kind of getting bumped up against that. And so we'll see if we could break up above and then maybe start making our way up. The EMA is still bearish. And then the volumes, we had this big spike during these down candles, and then a good spike here with this big wick. So in general, not much has changed. I would say there's a better chance that we get rejected here at this level and come back down than there is of us breaking above this level and continuing up. Just with the RSI, just with this strong downtrend, I think that's kind of where we're headed. So yeah, not a whole lot else. Still bearish. Now I did want to look at this. Now this is pretty messy. So this is the BTC perpetual contract on Bybit. And just this is kind of the trade, or the most recent trade setup I'm looking for. So on the 1 hour chart, essentially, let me remove some of these. These are from lower time frames. So essentially, over the past day, you could see Bitcoin has been trying to find, or has been finding support right at this level, right at 37,800. Now we had formed this this wedge here. It looks as if we've broken out of that wedge. We're trying to hold support here. Essentially, if we break firmly below this, I'm looking for a short position here. And so right now, I have a conditional sell order. So if the price comes back below this level, there'll be a sell order that executes, and looking for a move down to at least here. Now, I will likely be managing this trade if it goes through, which I think right now it probably just went through, um, to see if, to see if we bounce here, because that's another potential, or see if there's a bounce that kind of invalidates this setup. But in general, I think this is a fairly good setup. Looking at the RSI, here we had been finding support right at 50, and then now you could see that the momentum's just dying. The momentum's just kind of dying out, and then now we're kind of going below 50, and at here and here even you could say that it was acting as resistance. Here as well we had a cross in the moving averages. So essentially from this point down, or from this point onwards, the momentum's just kind of falling off. Now the 1 hour chart is, I think, in my opinion, it takes out a lot of the noise from kind of the 5, 15, and 30-minute charts. And in general, I've been getting pretty good entries with it. So yeah, essentially, this is the trade let me see if it, well, I guess technically it hasn't executed. But this is a trade I'm looking to enter, and seeing if I could write it down back to at least here. So yeah, let me know what you think. In summary, still fairly bearish. Even though we did have this bounce here, I don't think there's enough momentum, enough bullish momentum to carry this much further. And I still expect for us to be going down to these previous levels I had mentioned at 29 or 30,000, down about here. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Stay safe out there and good luck.